The circumstances surrounding the kidnapping of the Lindbergh baby. The Lindbergh baby kidnapping remains one of the most infamous crimes in American history, a chilling mystery that captured the world's attention in the early 1930s. On the night of March 1, 1932, Charles Augustus Lindbergh Jr., the 20-month-old son of famed aviator Charles Lindbergh and his wife, Anne Morrow Lindbergh, was taken from his crib in the family's secluded Hopewell, New Jersey home. What followed was a frantic search, a convoluted ransom negotiation, and ultimately a devastating discovery that shocked the nation and changed American law enforcement forever. The eerie details of the case, the disturbing crime scene, and the deep conspiracy theories surrounding it only add to its mystique. Charles Lindbergh was not just any celebrity, he was a national hero. In 1927, he had become the first person to complete a solo non-stop transatlantic flight, making him one of the most admired figures in the world. His marriage to Anne Morrow Lindbergh, a gifted writer and aviator in her own right, only further solidified their status as America's golden couple. However, fame came with its dangers. The Lindberghs were constantly in the public eye, and their movements were widely reported. Some believe this notoriety made them prime targets for criminals looking for ransom money. Their home in Hopewell, New Jersey, was still under construction when they moved in. Despite Lindbergh's obsession with privacy and security, the house had vulnerability: large windows, an unfinished driveway, and no immediate neighbors. This isolation, meant to shield the family from public scrutiny, ironically made it the perfect location for an abduction. The evening of March 1st was cold and windy, the kind of night that sent an eerie chill through the desolate countryside surrounding the Lindbergh estate. Nestled in the darkness, the house loomed quietly against the blackened sky, unaware of the horror about to unfold. Inside, the Lindberghs and their household staff followed their usual evening routine. At around 7:30 p.m., Betty Gow, the baby's nurse, took Charles Jr. into his crib in his upstairs nursery. Unbeknownst to anyone inside, a figure lurked in the shadows outside. The kidnapper had likely been watching the home for days, studying the family's movements and finding the perfect time to strike. Between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock p.m., the intruder scaled the house using a rickety wooden ladder, jimmied open the window, and reached inside the darkened room. The baby lay sleeping, oblivious to the cold hands that plucked him from his warm blankets. The kidnapper left behind a chilling ransom note on the windowsill, demanding $50,000 for the child's return. A frantic search ensued. The household was thrown into chaos as Lindbergh scoured the property with a gun in hand, shouting his son's name into the darkness. The only evidence found were muddy footprints trailing into the woods, a broken ladder discarded near the house, and the ransom note, a crude message riddled with spelling errors, suggesting an uneducated or foreign hand had penned it. Some theorists later speculated that Charles Jr. had been dropped from the ladder during the abduction, possibly dying before the kidnapper even left the estate. This theory would take on disturbing weight in the months to come. The kidnapping sent shockwaves across the country, making front-page headlines. The New Jersey State Police, with the FBI soon involved, launched a massive investigation. Roadblocks were set up, local criminals were questioned, and a national appeal for information was made. Yet little progress was made in those first terrifying days. Lindbergh himself, a national hero, took command of the search efforts, personally fielding tips and working with law enforcement. The ransom note, crudely written, hinted at foreign involvement. Over the next few weeks, more notes arrived, each raising the price first to $70,000, then more. The handwriting remained the same, jagged, oddly phrased, and filled with spelling errors. Eventually, Dr. John Condon, a Bronx schoolteacher, entered the case, acting as an intermediary. Through coded newspaper ads, he arranged a meeting with the alleged kidnapper, known only as John. On April 2, 1932, the ransom was paid in a fog-shrouded Bronx cemetery. The kidnapper accepted the money and promised Charles Jr. was alive, hidden on a boat near Martha's Vineyard. But the boat never existed, and hope quickly faded. On May 12, 1932, a truck driver stopped along a desolate stretch of road near the Lindbergh estate, made a gruesome discovery. In the undergrowth, he spotted a small, decomposing corpse partially buried in the dirt. When the authorities arrived, they were met with a nightmarish scene. The body, badly decayed, with missing limbs and gnawed flesh, was confirmed to be Charles Jr. The worst detail of all, his skull had been crushed, the fatal blow either from a fall or deliberate violence. Investigators believe the baby had died the very night he was taken, making the ransom negotiations a cruel farce. The thought that Charles J.R.B. had been discarded like refuse mere miles from his home haunted the public. The nation was horrified, grief-stricken, and desperate for justice. Bruno Hauptmann's trial in January 1935 became a national obsession. The evidence against him was compelling. The ransom bills found in his possession, the latter wood matching his attic, and handwriting analysis linking him to the ransom notes. The defense, however, argued that the evidence was circumstantial, that Hauptmann had been set up, and that Lindbergh's influence over the investigation had skewed the case. Nevertheless, after weeks of dramatic testimony, the jury reached its verdict, guilty. Hauptmann was sentenced to death by electrocution. He maintained his innocence until the very end. On April 3, 1936, he was led to the electric chair at the New Jersey State Prison. Witnesses reported that he was calm, eerily so, as he muttered his final words, "I am absolutely innocent of the crimes with which I am charged." Despite Hauptmann's conviction, doubts about his guilt persist. Some believe he was merely a scapegoat. Others point to Lindbergh's own strange behavior during the investigation, his reluctance to allow authorities full control, his connections to powerful figures, and even his ties to eugenics movements as eerie footnotes to an already bizarre case. More disturbing are theories suggesting someone inside the Lindbergh home was involved. Was the crime an inside job? Did Anne Lindbergh's maid accidentally cause the child's death, leading to an elaborate cover-up? Or was Charles Lindbergh himself involved, as some darker theories propose? The Lindbergh baby kidnapping led to lasting changes in the legal system. The Lindbergh Law was passed, making kidnapping a federal offense if the victim was transported across state lines. The case revolutionized forensic science, pushing for better handwriting analysis and ransom money tracking. Yet, even with its supposed resolution, the crime continues to fascinate and disturb. The image of that broken ladder, the cruel ransom hoax, the decayed remains of a child in the woods, these fragments of horror have never fully left the public's consciousness. The kidnapping and murder of Charles Lindbergh Jr.B. was more than just a crime, it was an event that shook a nation. The eerie details, the endless questions, and the unresolved mysteries keep it alive in the annals of true crime. Nearly a century later, the case remains as haunting as ever, a tale of innocence lost, deception, and a justice system that may never have found all of its villains. My name is Penny Flick, with Kreep-ish. I'll be back with more stories that challenge our perceptions, question reality, and keep us peering into the darkness of history. Comment below on your thoughts. What stories intrigue you the most? What mysteries do you want to uncover? Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, the truth is often stranger than fiction.